What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Now listen guys, I've been putting off this video. I've been putting off reading the comic because I was a little worried that it wasn't going to be great. But I actually sat down last night. I read Absolute Wonder Woman issues 1 through 7. By the time I got into issue 1, by the time I finished that comic, I could not stop reading. Absolute Wonder Woman is freaking amazing. So you guys know I gotta share this excitement with you. Today we are covering Absolute Wonder Woman issues 1 through 7. We are diving head first into Greek mythology. We've already seen how twisted this absolute universe can be. For the princess of Themyscira, her story is no different. Born on Themyscira, but when the Amazons faced the wrath of Zeus, Princess Diana became the last of the Amazons. And young baby Diana, she was banished to the underworld to live out her days with Circe, to stay there until she dies in hell. But our princess has other plans. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, our story starts us at Gateway City, California. Right on the beach, we're picking up a pyramid-like object floating above the water. Everybody's in a little bit of a panic. Nobody knows what this is, where it came from, or what it might want. But that panic, it turns to terror very quickly. The flying little bat monsters coming out and just terrorizing everybody. This is where we have the arrival of Absolute Wonder Woman, wielding her giant sword and riding her undead Pegasus. Our princess begins to slay the monsters. And this is where we learn her origins. Once upon a time, there was a princess. The princess that had all the gifts any princess could ever hope for. Beauty, grace, compassion, kindness, wisdom, the ability to outrun a hellhound and conjure the darkest of magics. Things every princess would need when you're raised in hell. Taking us years ago on the wild Isle of Hell, prison of the great sorceress Circe. Here we see Circe visited by Apollo. Apollo passes off a young infant, informing her that this baby, it is Diana, princess of Themyscira. She is the last of the Amazons. She has been taken from the Amazons by Zeus. This is punishment for their crimes against the gods. From this day forward, Hell will be Diana's home, and Circe will be her warden. Diana may never again reunite with her Amazon sisters. They will be imprisoned for eternity. That is, once their service to the gods has been fulfilled. And Circe is never allowed to say the word Amazon again. Circe knows it. Apollo is afraid, decreeing the word Amazon banned from Circe's lips. The gods, they care not what happens to Diana. She belongs in hell forever how long she is. And so Circe left with this baby. At first, she was like, nature's gonna do its thing. Hell is going to take this baby, and that'll be done with it. I won't have to worry about it. We can call it a day. But very quickly, Circe sees that this is no ordinary baby. As she slowly starts to grow, we see Diana's interactions with animal life, lizards, snakes, all of these things. Hell, even lost souls and demons, they all drift to her. It's like they almost have a calling to her. But there are also many of things that tried to kill her over the years. Creatures bent on destruction, but she has a quality that softens even the most treacherous of beasts. Over time, Circe fell in love with the girl, became her adopted mother, raised her to be the woman she is today, teaching her about magic, about how the world works, lessons to be learned. And Circe knew that one day, her daughter would return to the world of man. This is what takes us to Gateway City. Diana telling the soldiers nearby that they gotta get the hell out of here. It is time for them to run, because those little red bats that have been flying around, that was just the first wave. What comes after that, she refers to as Harbinger Prime. Diana standing her ground against this beast. She tries to speak with it, wielding her mythical Athena blade. She tells the monster to turn around, that this world is protected. The monster does not care. Her Pegasus coming in, using hellfire on the beast. It gives her an opportunity to get in close, to try and use her magic. But with this failing and Harbinger Prime bringing all his minions back to life, we see Diana get hit with some heat vision and knocked all the way on the other side of the beach. Round 1 goes to Harbinger Prime. As she gets back up to her feet, she thinks back to the day where she was able to speak those words, not even knowing what it means. She said Amazon, and while Cersei couldn't say it, she tells Diana that is simply what you are. Apollo banned me from ever saying the word, but you have come upon it naturally. Deep in your soul, you are an Amazon. You are a princess of Themyscira. They don't want her to know she's an Amazon. Now she wants to know why. What are the motives of the gods to take this from me? Cersei says that they had a job to do. The Amazons protected the world above from the oldest of monsters. Perhaps this is where the world ends. Or perhaps you say your name again. Become what you were always meant to be. And as she stands before Harbinger Prime, she pulls out her lasso. But this is no lasso of truth. Forged in the depths of hell, Cersei armed her daughter with the greatest weapons imaginable, watching as her daughter will change the world. Diana of Themyscira, last of the Amazons, daughter of Cersei, princess of hell, witch of the Wild Isle. The Harbinger will meet its doom. This is what takes us to issue number 2. Diana in the heat of battle. She uses her lasso almost like a whip, hitting the Harbinger. We see it do a good amount of damage, and she tells Harbinger Prime that's just a taste of it. To retreat now, save yourself. When it refuses, she takes her lasso and she wraps it around the monster. This weapon, this lasso, is known as Nemesis, a weapon forged in the fires of hell, fashioned by her mother, the sorceress Cersei, made from the remains of the last basilisk, infused with the blood of Prometheus, blessed by the goddess of harvest. And so for Harbinger Prime, Nemesis is going to be a particular kind of hell, for Nemesis binds and burns in proportion to your sins. Every innocent life that Harbinger Prime has ever taken, Harbinger feels the full brunt of it, begging for release, begging for the Amazon to let her go. Diana tells Harbinger Prime that you will leave this place and you will never return, that you will pass this message on to whatever monster summoned you here to do its bidding. This world is protected by Diana, Princess of Themyscira, Princess of Hell, the last Amazon, and all the resources of her command to tell them all to tremble and hide for the next millennium. This is what takes us to the beach. With the monster in full retreat, Diana is greeted by Steve. To understand how Steve knows Diana, that takes us down to hell. Steve had washed up on the shores, washed up on the Wild Isles, and as she attempted to render him aid, had she not gotten there in just the nick of time, Steve would have been swallowed up by a hydra. Diana diving into the water to rescue Steve and brings him back home, warms him and nurtures him back to health. When he finally comes to, obviously, everything he's about to learn is going to be a lot of information to take in at once. Finding out that he's in the underworld, that he's in hell, everything that's going on, everything that has transpired. But he's not exactly dead. He's just stuck in the underworld. Diana not sure if this guy is a test, a trap, or maybe a gift. But when Steve comes over, he talks to Cersei in the most respectable of manners, apologizing for his reaction to everything. Obviously, this is a lot to take in. Steve, wanting to understand this place a little bit more, he asks Diana to take him to where he washed up on shore. And they kind of get to know each other here. This was the first time that they met. So when we pick up in present day, Steve and Diana are very familiar with one another. Steve is here because his military superiors would like a word with her. After everything that they just saw, They definitely want a conversation, but Steve does warn that these guys might not be happy to talk to you. This is where she goes and has a conversation with Commander Cole. Commander Cole is livid. Livid that she didn't try to talk to him, didn't try to do anything, she just jumped into action. Now, Diana is pretty much like, I get it. I'm an outsider, an element that you cannot control, and this frustrates you. But it's also not her problem. Her problem is making sure that those monsters don't come back. She warns that the world is not prepared for what is coming, that you are going to need my help, that monster you guys just saw, that was just a harbinger, a messenger of things to come, and Diana is expecting a monster within the hour. As they work to evacuate the city, Diana and Steve, they step outside and she goes to feed Pegasus, her Pegasus named Pegasus, her steed that had been slain, but he was brought back to life with magic and a sacrifice. It doesn't take long for the rumbling to begin, a sound that rings everybody's ears. Death personified has shown up. The Tetracide has arrived. Hopping us into issue number 3, Diana getting back to command. She was able to use some magic and slow the monster down, but it is very resistant to magic. She is telling the commander to evacuate the city and do it immediately. Everyone must leave. Before they do, she says it is important I tell you how this thing kills, if you have any hopes in fighting it after it kills me. Telling them I don't know how much more serious about this situation I can be. The Tetracide, it means quite literally the 4 killer. It kills in 4 ways: death of fear, death of mind, death of body, death of soul. What it means by death of fear is that you no longer are capable of feeling fear. Instead, you're drawn to it. Very soon, the monster will emulate a sound. It will be loud and sharp and it will travel for miles. When the people hear it, they will come to it like bees to honey. They will do anything to be with the sound. They will walk right into the monster's jaws. And that is where you die in agony. A death of mind, body, and soul. She tells them to evacuate, wielding her Athena blade, holding her Nemesis lasso, telling Pegasus just do strafing runs. Hit it with hellfire, but keep your distance. Diana giving it the option to turn around now. When it refuses, the battle begins. She takes the Nemesis lasso and she wraps the monster up, but still this monster is able to break free. Its tentacles grab hold of Diana. It grabs hold and wraps around, constricting her arm. And this is what throws us into the past. We pick up on the Wild Isle in Hell. We have Diana and Steve. Together, they are battling the Hydra. She tries speaking to it. Try letting it know that if you would just relent, we can live in peace once again. But she tells the Hydra that you will never have him. Choose peace and live, or you die here. Really, it's helping us understand that she can talk to most beasts, but not necessarily all. As they begin to conversate about Gateway City, about where he comes from, about the world of man, she's beginning to understand it all. Later on that day, Diana goes to Cersei and says that she found a way. She found a way to send Steve back. But to send him back to the world of man, this will require a sacrifice. And Cersei tells her no, you don't understand the cost of this sacrifice. And while Diana understands it very well, Cersei pretty much tells her like, no, you're not doing this. It is too much. You will sacrifice too much doing this. But late one evening, we find Diana next to a fire. She was not able to stop thinking about it, about what she is meant to be. That if she is meant to be a great warrior, a savior to humanity, then she cannot fail her first mission for humanity, to return one of humanity's greatest heroes. Because one good man is all it takes to save the world. She now knows that Steve, he wasn't a gift. He was a test. If they are right and Diana is a great warrior, then the dominant arm of a great warrior is a worthy sacrifice. This is where we see Diana cut off her own arm. She did what was necessary to send Steve back home. And so taking us to present day, when the Tetracide grabs hold of her arm, it squishes it and we see the magic dissipate. Her right arm, the entire arm all the way up to the shoulder, has been a manifestation of magic. When this magic disappears, it sends her into retreat. Now she can get her arm back, but it is complicated magic. Putting on a robotic arm that was forged in hell itself. It's a substitute until she can go really get the magic to get her other arm back. As she's evacuating everybody, Diana goes outside and runs into a journalist. This journalist calls her Wonder Woman, and this puts Diana at pause. The girl goes on to say that she knows about the Amazons, assuming that Diana is one of them. She had wrote her dissertation on the myth of the Amazons, her primary field of study. The girl's name is Barbara Minerva, and while Diana would love to continue this conversation, there are much bigger things at play. The monster is fast approaching. Diana knows that this is futile. In a last-ditch effort, she thinks about a trick that she could do, a spell that she could cast. But to do this, she needs the help of the entire city. So she goes to the news reporter, and she speaks to everybody in Gateway City, introducing herself as Diana, saying that today she needs their help. There's a terrible monster that is on the beach. It has come for us all. It is going to emit a sound that's going to compel you to sacrifice yourself, to save them all. She is going to briefly make them all deaf. She will cast a spell so that the whole city cannot hear. Thus, they will never hear the sound of the monster. She tells them that I understand this is hard, but I need you to become believers. I need your help today. Don't let the city go into chaos because this is happening. Just know that Wonder Woman believes in you. As she casts her magic, the shield goes up over the city, and the sound of silence has begun. This is what takes us into issue number 4. We pick up in the home of two witches. Ones are trying to go out and about to go help people, do whatever they can to help keep people calm in this crazy time. But when they open up the door, they are greeted by Steve and Wonder Woman, having a protective spell just over this building and allows them to be able to communicate. Etta and Gaia Candy. Steve knew that Wonder Woman needed, some witches. He could think of nobody else but them. Now, at first, she's a little hesitant, like, I'm not sure how I can help you. But Diana just needs ingredients. Her prosthetic arm that was a powerful weapon forged in the fires. It is no match for the magical arm that she can conjure with the right material. Getting all the materials together, this allows her to do the spell. With a crack of red lightning hitting Wonder Woman, we are jumped back into the past. We pick up with Circe. Back around the time she had just gotten Diana from Apollo, she was visited by the goddess Hecate. Circe's visions have begun. Circe asking, "Are you the one that did this?" And Hecate says yes. I wouldn't put it exactly like this, but yes. And Circe wonders, if I'm so beloved by you, you would have never allowed me to be imprisoned in hell. You would have never allowed me to be brought so low. You would have never forced a child on me that was not my own. But she tells Circe that there's a powerful game afoot. Each of us are going to play our role. Each of us with our sacrifices to make. The arc of the universe is long, and it should bend towards justice. But at every chance, it does not. Instead, it dies, smothered in the cradle over and over again. Hecate is done. A new path has been set, but many other paths have been broken to set it. Many minds, many bodies, many hearts. Hecate says that she gave this to her because no matter what, Circe is not wrong. She also saw what it could be. Only one such as Circe could raise the hero they would all need. She could also see that her love would change her, would change Circe in ways that she could never imagine. Seeing that Circe will go against Hecate, will deny her to protect Diana. That is how she knows Circe is the right choice. Right for the world, right for Diana, and right for Circe herself. Telling Circe that you may look upon me, know that you are blessed, and know that you will be remembered. The visions would come from time to time, flashes of what Diana would be to the world, how she would suffer, how she would persevere, how the goddess's great plans would knit together so carefully that nobody could see her until it was already too late. It was on that night Circe began to make her first lasso, built with love, pain, magic, and fire. Taking us back to present day, we pick up with Wonder Woman, arm returned. She knows it is time to go fight. The monster has made its way into the city, with the people not coming to it. It is going to the people. She intends to lure it back to the beach before it embeds itself into the city and never leaves, which means the death of fear. The sound is gone. This is where she summons up a sword, ginormous in size, using her magic. It's almost like a fear bomb, and this fear bomb, it attracts the monster, attracting it to the beach. This is where Diana fights, using some magic on her sword. We see how absolutely ginormous she has made it. She looks so teeny tiny in comparison to the massive colossiveness of this sword. Praying to the goddess Athena, asking for aid, asking for this to strike true. The blade of Athena breaks upon as waves cutting through stone, and we see that mighty blade cut right through the monster as it falls to the ground. At the White House, they have some concerns, because while that monster is terrifying, they just saw Wonder Woman enlarge a sword to the size of a building and cut that monster down. There's more than one threat on that beach. This is what takes us to issue number 5. A dead hit on the monster probably would have killed it, but in this case, it is just severely injured. She doubts it's injured enough to actually make a retreat, already beginning to knit itself back together. She tries to figure out her next course of action. This is what takes us to the past. Circe is giving her the lasso, telling Diana that this lasso, it is a last resort, telling her that your future is going to be filled with beauty, horror, danger, and opportunity. That is why you will need this. The lasso's name is Sacrifice, and it will hold anything. It will transform anything, but what she holds determines the shape of that transformation. But after Diana uses it for the first time, she says she found it a bit cruel. Circe not happy with how Diana reacts to this situation. Diana thinks that her mother either can't see the cruelty in it, or she doesn't care. This is where the goddess Hecate comes to her, comes to Diana and tells her that you're right. Perhaps both, but certainly the second. Perhaps she does not care simply because she knows how to weight things properly. The goddess saying that I'm not going to hold your hand and dance around it. If your mother, who knows the future, made a cruel weapon, I suspect she knows you're gonna need it. And your mother, neither of us believe that she's trying to lead you astray. So what ails you? She just doesn't see this weapon the same as her mother does. But even the goddess tells her that you're being foolish, that lasso is your mother. She made it with love, pain, fire, and blood. It was you that made her believe in transformation. Even more than the goddess, it was Diana. And so when Diana returns to her mother, she apologizes. That her mother is so great, so powerful, taught her so much, has been so loving and kind to her. Asking her mother to teach me how to master this lasso. That's what takes us to Gateway City. She takes that lasso and she wraps it around her arm. The answer to her problems has been right here the whole time. We see her transform, and Wonder Woman becomes Medusa. As our monster stands toe-to-toe with her, it takes one look into the eyes of Medusa, and our tetracide turns to stone. But even after the monster turns to stone, Medusa turns around and heads to the city. They thought that she would just turn back to Wonder Woman, but Steve thinks maybe that's not the case. Maybe when you have a transformation like that, it takes friends to remind you of who you are. And so Steve, putting a blindfold on, he heads into the streets. He calls out to Diana. He reminds her of who she is, of where she comes from, reminding her that she is a daughter of Circe, that she is the last of the Amazons. And we see Medusa turn back into Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman never being so sure of her sacrifice, telling Steve it just takes one good man to save the world. As we pick up back on the beach, the day has been won. The monster has been defeated. Knowing that there is much work to be done, she's getting ready to help the world of man in a way that has never been helped before. Or so she thought. That's when the ground gives way underneath her feet. A hand grabs hold of Wonder Woman and drags her back down to the depths of hell. This is what takes us to issue number 6. We pick up in the throne room of Hades, telling Wonder Woman to kneel, to take off your helm, and telling her that you cannot leave the underworld. Yet you did, though we'll get to how you did that shortly. Hades wonders why her weapons have not been removed, though Hades' minion will say that they all have been removed. That is not the case. Everything that is on her body is a weapon, once fully disarmed. When asked for the red lasso, the minion tries to grab hold of it, but it shocks the hell out of him. A weapon crafted by her and her mother that only Wonder Woman can wield, in a place so dangerous, they would never allow it to be any other way. This has Hades very curious, wanting to know more about this Nemesis lasso. What is it made of? This is what takes us to Prometheus. On the borders of myth and reality, Wonder Woman climbed Mount Prometheus. She climbed up to find where he was chained, and imbuing her weapon with her own blood, using that magic, she breaks the chains for Prometheus, and telling the god that, please forgive me, I am inadequate and I must confess that I don't have the power to permanently free you, but I have given you a little respite, a little opportunity to breathe. Calling down the eagles, speaking with them and telling them, I would greatly appreciate if you stopped feeding on my friend, to tell the others to do the same, and you will have the friendship of Princess of Themyscira for as long as my days are. Again, she apologizes to Prometheus, saying that I am limited in what I can do. I cannot stop any other beast or any other monster from coming, but the eagles will stop. That Zeus's decrees are very difficult to maneuver around. Confessing to Prometheus that I do not come here with selfless intent, only with a request, a vial of the blood of Prometheus, part of him, a champion of humanity, their greatest ally and protector, all to power a weapon of fire and justice. This is where Prometheus grants her even more than this, saying to strike off the tip of my finger. That way you can have my flesh and my blood for your weapon, and perhaps something else as well. Diana saying that she is not worthy of such a thing, but Prometheus says this is exactly why you are worthy. That like her mother, Prometheus can see the future as well. He sees the dangerous path ahead. He wishes to aid her. And so Diana accepts this amazing gift. But even more so, Prometheus using his blood. He has one last gift. Once born from the blood of Medusa, eventually betrayed and killed by Zeus, now reborn by the blood of Prometheus. A cry of justice on the very wind. We have the Pegasus rise up. And Diana does note that it's a dangerous game to play with a god who has already chained you, but he delights in spitting in his eye, as all should. That Pegasus, like so many, has been radicalized by injustice. The two of them will make a fine pair, taking us back to the throne room of Hades. But it's more than just Prometheus. It is also the Basilisk. Wonder Woman killed the last one, but not as a trophy, because it came for her. Zeus, angry that she was alive, tasked it with killing Diana. It regularly appeared on the isle, and so one day, her and her mother, they put the monster down. Hades finding all this very educational, even if theoretical. He doesn't believe that any of this happened, but saying, let's see how you feel about conservation when it's applied to you more personally. This is where we see Circe tied up, and it's time for the arena. This is what takes us over to issue number 7. We pick up in the past. We pick up with a young Wonder Woman and Lady Persephone, queen of the underworld. Diana comes and greets the tree that she has just created. Persephone walks the underworld every day that she must be here, in part because wherever she walks, life follows her. But even in the underworld, it all dies. Almost instantly. Almost all of it. But sometimes something very special is able to break through. As they walk, She tells Diana the story of the Queen of the Underworld, how it involves a kidnapping and some very diabolical pomegranate seeds. This is what takes us to the arena. Diana battles against the tiger. As she battles, Hades discusses possibly taking away magic from Diana, but our Queen of the Underworld says it would be a shame for Diana to beat you in the arena with only one arm, that you would never live that down. It's best you let her keep it. Taking us to the past with Circe. She reaches out to Hecate, Circe needing to know how Diana can make it out of here safely. She is told that there will be 2 escapes. The first will be temporary. The second will be more permanent. A path has been laid long ago when she had first saw Hera was right and that Zeus would eventually come for the Amazons. She impressed Hades with a simple but diabolical story. Not long after, a new game emerged in his arena. She has prepared the way. The story is The Lady or the Tiger. The story goes that once upon a time, there was a beautiful princess, and she fell in love with a handsome young man who was not a prince. When her father, the king, realized this, he sent the princess's young suitor to the arena. The king said it was a good place that allowed the gods alone to decide someone's fate. In the arena, the young suitor would face 2 doors. Behind one door was a beautiful young woman, one to be his wife, and the promise of a long and happy life. Behind the other door was certain death. The princess, still very much in love, she told her suitor she would discover which door held his freedom and signal him to that door so that he might live. But then the princess learned that the beautiful young woman behind the door was someone she deeply was jealous of, someone that the suitor was once in love with. And so the princess long hated. And so a choice had to be made, a painful choice. Send the love of your life off with somebody else, or send him to certain death, all while you remain trapped, alone. She could not imagine a fate more painful. So when her suitor stood before her, she tilted her head in the direction, showing him the door, and he walked to that door. That is the end of the story. And though Diana would love more closure on this in her young ages, maybe the point of this story is not to know what happens. Maybe it's to understand it when you're older. Young Diana is still puzzled by this story, believing that the princess, she was wrong. It was the princess who decided his fate. She doesn't like the princess because she was selfish. She doesn't love the suitor, she loves herself. Saying that maybe you're right. Maybe we're meant to understand her and not necessarily agree with her. Diana believes that she should have been better, but that's also with the assumption she chose to let him die. But do you think her worthiness was the point of this story? It took years, but one day while working, it finally clicked in her head, and she realized she is not the princess in that story. In present day, Wonder Woman has taken the upper hand. The tiger has been beaten, telling Hades, "Do not make me kill her." But he declares that only one should leave this arena. Diana says, "If you force me to kill her, for nothing, for sport, then you are not the god I thought you might be. This will draw a fateful line between the 2 of us." In his anger, he says that you dare question me, Lord of the Underworld. Diana snaps its neck, asking for forgiveness, calling out to the goddess, "If your justice truly rules your mind and heart, then lend me your strength. Lend me your power. Join with great and terrible Hecate. See true justice, even in this hopeless place." The power imbued into her, telling Hades that you are no god. You are a warden of a prison and no more. You are but an errand boy, chained to this forbidden place, this forsaken place, by Zeus. Hades looking upon Wonder Woman, wondering how she has gotten so powerful. And he knows why. It is because he is keeping her by injustice. It is shameful and everyone knows it. They know the truth of its injustice. The day of reckoning has come. But Hades' day of reckoning is not yet upon us. In the meantime, she believes there is a game to finish. A question of 2 doors. Telling her to pick a door. Pick one so I no longer have to see your insolent face. But if you find the door to freedom, you will never be able to return to her. You will be barred from the underworld until your death. Telling Circe that you will lose your daughter forever. For all eternity, you will be left alone. tears streaming down Cersei's face. She tilts her head, letting her daughter know which door to go, opening up the door, thanking her mother for trusting her, for trusting that Wonder Woman would do the right thing. Diana doesn't leave. She turns and she breaks the chains off of her mother, and Hades is confused, saying, "I did not stutter. You've won your freedom, but you may not return." But Diana goes on to say that there's a thing about that. Diana ate a diabolical pomegranate seed given to her by Hades' wife. Hades, outraged like this, turns to the Queen of the Underworld and says, "What have you done?" And she says, "I've done nothing. I've fed her one of your most treasured seeds. 1 month in the Underworld per year for every seed eaten." She, of course, learned that the hard way. Diana learned it in love. She was given a choice, and she didn't blink at the sacrifice. So Diana must and may return to the Underworld for 1 month every year, unless, of course, Hades would like to break the rules of the seeds, which means Hades would have won, but he also would lose his bride. The Queen telling Diana that you owe me nothing, simply continue the good work you have begun. One day, bring that reckoning of which you speak. On that day, I will consider your debt paid in full. And so Wonder Woman carrying her mother back to the Isle. All this time, she thought her mother was teaching her how to beat the arena, when really she was just teaching her. They were teaching each other. It is poetic how they desired to punish her, to hold her down, to make her disappear. And instead they gave her a mother that knew all the secrets of the world and taught them all to her, saying that she cannot stay, that if she touches ground, she'll have to stay for a month, that she will reach out soon, because the path forward leads to the fall of the gods. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Tell me that was not an amazing 7 issues. Now, maybe I'm biased because I am a sucker for Greek mythology. Hands down, one of my favorite topics of all time. And when Wonder Woman is hugely intertwined with the gods, it makes for some fantastic stories. And this is just such a amazing tale, almost classical in its sense. A warrior raised up from the depths of the underworld, forgotten, abused, many attempts of murder, but still rising up through all of it, holding that fortitude. And now, with the weapons forged by her mother, given to her by God, seeing the injustice, she rises up to fight the gods. She rises up to fight Zeus, to bring back the Amazons, and to stake her rightful place in this world. Without question, Absolute Wonder Woman is a 10 out of 10. If you are not reading this comic, go pick it up right now. Start reading it. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this story, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with Absolute Wonder Woman. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50 from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.